What's up guys, Jens Garcia here, and today we're taking a look at HTC's new phablet, the Desire 816. Last year I reviewed the Samsung Galaxy Mega, which I really enjoyed using, so let's go ahead and see how this phablet stacks up. Rather than having a gorgeous metal unibody, HTC used plastic material to cover up the device to cut down the cost. Now, it doesn't have the best build quality, but it isn't the worst either. I guess I was expecting more from it, like for example, more like the iPhone 5C kind of build. I wasn't also quite sure whether if it was just a production issue, but the back of the device is very squeaky and it kind of gets annoying whenever I'm grabbing the phone. But overall, in my opinion, HTC could have done a better job building the phone. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me or not. The Desire 816 has a quad-core Snapdragon 400 processor clocked at 1.6 GHz along with Adreno 305 GPU for gaming and handling the display. There's also a 1.5 GB of RAM as well as 8 GB of internal storage to store your files. It also supports a micro SD card, so you can add an additional 128 GB if you need more storage, which you probably will. Over to the connectivity side, it is LTE capable and has Bluetooth 4.0 and supports Wi-Fi 802.11, BG, and N. Moving over to the display, it has a 5.5-inch HD display, so that's 1280 by 720, which gives you a pixel density of 261 ppi. Now, this is where it kind of falls behind as well, same with other mid-range phablets anyway, as they don't produce enough sharpness and clarity, although I really enjoy the viewing experience on this device, and I'm sure most of you will agree on that. Now, it's really good if you do a lot of web browsing, emailing, gaming, and watch YouTube videos. Even though it doesn't have the best display, it's all expected on a mid-range device, but overall I don't have a lot of complaints with it. I didn't have any issue as well using it outdoors, though I'd love to see more brightness from the display, but no big deal on that. Just like other new HTC devices, the Desire 816 also comes with the new Sense 6.0 UI on top of Android 4.4.2. Now, if you've seen my M8 review, then you know how much I love this software. It's not the most stock looking interface out there, but it's definitely one of the lightest, if not the lightest software I've used. It's also worth mentioning that Sense 6.0 is a very stylish skin. Overall, the phone performed how I expected it to perform, and in fact, it performed a lot better compared to some of today's flagship devices, and I think that's what's really cool about HTC devices. Now, most of the things you'll find on the M8 in terms of software are on the 816, but what's missing are the motion gestures, which isn't an issue to me. There are some camera features as well that aren't featured on the 816, as well as the .view-K support. Now, it kind of makes sense as well why the company had to cut down those features and save it on a higher end devices. But again, as I've said, overall I'm really pleased with how smooth and stable this device has been running over the weeks I've used it. It certainly didn't feel like I was using a mid-range device, although you'll still see a big difference between those devices that are powered by a Snapdragon 800 or 801 chip. Moving over to the camera department, there's a 5-megapixel camera at the front and a 13-megapixel camera on the back with f2.2 aperture. The photos on the 816 are really good for a mid-range device, and then high-resolution images looked really good in well-lit situation. Now, because the 816 has a bigger sensor, the images looked a lot sharper when cropped, and indoor shots looked average in my opinion, and it isn't the best, but it isn't that bad either. Now, what I've noticed when taking outdoor photos was the inconsistency of the camera. It had a really hard time, with the correct exposure. Therefore, a lot of my outdoor photos were very underexposed. It would have been better if there was a manual mode, but I think that's too much to ask. Low light photos is where it really struggles, although you can get some decent results, but the focus and shutter speed were having trouble in low light situation. But again, for a mid-range phone, I think it's great. You still get the basics like night mode, HDR, sweep panorama, macro, and more, except M8's manual mode, dual capture, and spherical panorama modes. The advantage of not having a power-hungry CPU is that it uses less power. The fact that it also uses a lower display kind of helps the battery to last longer. Now, the device may have a small 2600 mAh battery, but for what it powers, it's more than enough to last for a full day of usage. To be honest, I've had trouble killing the battery on this thing, and if you're the type of user that want to be able to use your phone for a long period of time, then this is a great option. While the Desire 816 may not be for everyone, I think HTC really made this device sit on top of mid-range phablets. I personally find it a lot of a complete package compared to the Galaxy Mega, Xperia T2 Ultra, which we also reviewed here on the channel. It's not the most perfect mid-range device, especially when it comes to the build quality and camera department, but in my opinion, this is worth a try. Or if you just want a backup phone or an entertainment phone that you can just leave in your lounge. Alright folks, that's the HTC Desire 816. Let me know your thoughts about this device in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Like this video if you enjoyed it, share it to your friends, and maybe they're looking for a cheap phablet. And subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content from us. I'm Jens Garcia from Tech for Geeks, and I'll see you all in the next one.